Hey, it's Mike Hambright with the Flip Nerd VIP interview show. Welcome back. Today I have with me Josh Caldwell, who is the managing director of the American Real Estate Investors Academy. He's also the president of the Pittsburgh RIA, has a blog talk radio show, all kinds of interesting stuff going on. He's got a lot of great insights to share with us. Before we get started, though, let's take a second to recognize our featured sponsors. RealtyMogul.com is an online marketplace for real estate investing, connecting borrowers and capital from accredited and institutional investors. Get a rehab loan fast and close in as little as 10 days. Rates start as low as 9%. We'd also like to thank National Real Estate Insurance Group, the nation's leading provider of insurance to the residential real estate investor market. From individual properties to large-scale investors, National Real Estate Insurance Group is ready to serve you. Please note, the views and opinions expressed by the individuals in this program do not necessarily reflect those of FlipNerd.com or any of its partners, advertisers, or affiliates. Please consult professionals before making any investment or tax decisions, as real estate investing can be risky. Hey, Josh, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike, glad to be on here.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. So, as I was kind of preparing for the show, we put together some show notes and information and background on you for folks that I haven't had a chance to meet yet. So I'm glad we're meeting here. But I want to learn a little bit more about you. But one of the things I noticed on here was that you were one year, obviously, you were a Marine, a veteran. So thank you for serving our country. That's awesome. And
it's young and dumb. It seemed like the thing to do.
Yeah. Well, hey, you did a great thing, I'm sure. So, but I noticed that you're a retired Federal Air Marshal. I can't say I've come across an Air Marshal before. So
there are not a whole lot of us on the planet. It's not the normal transition where you go from counterterrorism to real estate, but there are some similarities where the A+ personality type, where you drive to win at all times, kind of crosses both those lines. So it doesn't seem like a natural fit, but it kind of is.
Well, a lot of real estate investors are packing heat. I know that you pretty much have to.
They should
in some neighborhoods. So awesome. Well, thanks again for being on the show. So why don't you give us a little bit of your background and tell us a little bit how you got involved, starting in real estate.
Okay, Mike. The background part, I am the president of the Pittsburgh Real Estate Investors Association, the managing director of the American Real Estate Investors Academy. I'm an author. I have my own radio show. I've mentored students around the country. Basically, I kind of live and breathe real estate.
Yeah.
I got into it because I realized I was becoming old and fat. And in the exciting world of counterterrorism, old and fat is a bad thing.
Yeah.
So my time of being an action-oriented person was coming to an end, so I needed to find something else. And in my search to find something else, I ran into a fella, a former Marine as well, named Ron LeGrand. And if you happen to know Ron LeGrand can teach you to do just about anything. And in my case, he taught me quite a bit and then just kind of turned me loose in the universe. And that's really where I came from. And now I've got several of my own clubs, and my real passion is teaching people.
Yeah. So on the Ron LeGrand side, what you learned was how to become a mentor and coach other folks. Is that right?
It's one of the things I learned. Yeah. Right. Ron is fantastic at passing information on, and just using him to model. That's the fancy new word we use for copying off somebody else's paper, which is really the first rule of high school.
Yeah. You
don't really need to know anything. You just need to sit next to the kid who knows the answers to the test. And that's a lot of the way real estate education really pans out.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, part of what we're doing on the show here is to get a chance to talk to other folks and meet other folks. And I mean, networking is critical in this business, and it's so easy to, if you're focused. Most folks like you and me and a lot of other folks that I've had on the show are very much an open book as to the information that they have or are willing to share.
Oh, that's very true. Not to cut you off, Mike, but anybody who's watching this show should already know. Mike is a great source of information, and most of the guests that I've seen on here are fantastic sources. And real estate, there's something about the real estate entrepreneurial mindset where we don't think in terms of competition. Yeah. And people, very successful people, will be very open and explain to you in detailed steps exactly how they got from having a horrible job to, owning the house of their dreams and living wherever they want to live.
Right. Awesome. So from there, you talk a little bit about the the RIA that you're involved with, that you lead?
I took over what was the Western Pennsylvania Real Estate Investors Association by default. My predecessor passed away, and there was really nobody else to step into the void. So I kind of volunteered, and from there we've been growing this club like crazy. We are the fastest growing club in the state at the moment, and a lot of it's because of our basic philosophy is we teach people how to make money. That is the core of everything we're involved in. Is we don't look at things as, okay, what can we sell you? We look at things as, okay, if I present this to you, will it help you make money? My goal is to get you out of your silly job. My goal is to get you free. And really all of real estate investing is the pursuit of financial freedom.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I've got some guests coming up, a guy that was a mechanic and he's fairly young age and just started a few years ago buying houses, and he was recently able to leave his job. And the stories like that are awesome. And there's a lot of folks that I know that I'm blessed, and I'm sure a lot of folks that you know that can never imagine going to work for anybody else again, and they simply don't have to. So it's nice. Not that they're, necessarily ridiculously rich, but they're free from having to do things that they don't want to do anymore.
Well, Mike, as a mentor, what drives people like you and I is that satisfaction of freeing other people.
Right.
It's not normal for me to be awake at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I have a 6-year-old, so I can't say that.
Okay, that's entirely true. I have a 2-year-old, so it's not intentional that I wake up before 10 a.m.
Yeah.
But it's not anything that's required of me. I usually go to work in a t-shirt and jeans or shorts, depending on the weather. I live in Pittsburgh. Jeans happens a lot.
Yeah.
But I make my own choices. I decide when I'm going to work. I decide how much I'm going to work. And again, going back to real estate investing and coming across a mentor like Mike or some of the other people that are out there, a lot of what we're teaching people is how to have that type of freedom where your income isn't tied to a specific period where you need to be sitting in some building.
Right.
You make your money once you've got enough tools in your tool belt and you have enough understanding of how to make money. You work when you want to. You work from where you want to. I can be on vacation in Europe and check my emails and have deals moving forward because I've built the system. And I was not the originator of anything that I do. Yeah. I literally plagiarized everything that I do, and so did most of us. So it's just a matter of getting plugged into a good system and moving forward from there.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your RIA. So how many members do you have? And you have the typical structure of a general meeting once a month, and then some kind of niche type meetings sprinkled throughout and things like that? Are you a little bit different, or?
We're a little weird. We're growing at about 20% a year at this stage. We're in the 500 range as far as membership goes.
Okay.
But again, in my great scheme of plagiarism, we're copying a lot of stuff from Dustin Griffin's Atlanta RIA. Where we've got, I think we're up to 10 subgroups now. And the subgroups are simply groups that meet outside of the regular meeting. Yeah. And they cover anything from wholesaling, commercial real estate, being a landlord, internet marketing, whatever we can think of. That there's really no ceiling to it other than our creativity and finding the proper leaders. Yeah. But that we realized a while ago that in a 2-hour meeting, there's only so much content we can deliver, no matter how hard we try.
Right.
So the idea became, okay, well, let's break this out and expand into all sorts of little niches, because I've always equated real estate investing with Baskin-Robbins. You walk into Baskin-Robbins and there are 31 flavors of ice cream. Mm-hmm. You like the one you like, and nobody can tell you that that's not the best flavor.
Right.
Real estate investing is very similar to that. I think the easiest thing to get involved with is wholesaling. And probably the top of the food chain is commercial real estate. But there are a ton of other ways that you can make money in real estate.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it is just how your personality gravitates, or what just works well inside your head.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think a lot of folks realize how many different ways there are to make money in real estate until you've been doing it for a while. And some people, I mean, like myself, I've actually tried to stay pretty pure. I mean, I wholesale, I rehab, and I have rental properties. I'm intrigued by seller financing, but I don't do it just because if I do it, I want to go all in and do it in a big way. I don't want to just dabble. But it reminds me of when I went for undergrad, I have a bachelor's in finance, and I had kind of a focus on investments. And, you don't. I didn't realize until I got out in the real world and worked for a huge bank of there's probably thousands of people in that one company that would say they work in investments or they work in banking, and they all had different job titles. I mean, they all had a different niche. So in real estate investing is, I'm not sure if it's quite that many, but there's a lot of ways to make money in real estate investing, no doubt about it.
Very true. I mostly focus on, strangely enough, owner financing. It's what I teach my local students, and I teach some of my national students as well. And to me, the hardest one is rehabs. Rehabs are very unnatural for me. I'm doing two now because Robin Thompson goaded me into doing them, mostly by making fun of me at dinner one night. But to me, that's a very difficult way to make a living.
And that's primarily what I do. Yeah. So, and I'll tell you, it is difficult. It's a difficult life because,
other people just take to it. For me, that's just, there's too many moving parts, too many variables. And, but somebody with a construction background, they think that's the easiest way in the world to make money.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of finding, being exposed to enough different things, note buying, being a private lender. You do things completely passively or actively and anything in between.
Yeah.
But that's where a RIA club really comes into play, is presenting all those things in front of you without any bias.
Right.
And saying, okay, you can do this, and until you find that thing that really, really fits with you.
Right.
And
would you say with your club, I always ask club leaders that I talk to what they think the right mix is of, and you alluded to this a little bit. I know that the club business is a thankless job. You basically help educate a lot of people. It's not like people are making a lot of money doing it. They're generally doing it, or if they're making any money, they're usually doing it as a way to meet people and open up new opportunities in other areas, or maybe there's JVs you could do together or things like that. But what do you think the right balance is between the education side and the fact that you have to generate some revenue to be able to have the club survive?
Well, let's address the revenue part first. It's a good question, Mike. If you ever want to start a real estate club, you're a moron. Don't do this. There are lots and lots of things that I could do that would make much more money per hour of effort than having a RIA club. It really has to be a labor of love, or for God's sake, don't do it.
Yeah.
To me, the right mix really is just push the education. The JV stuff just happens. The joint ventures with speakers and promoters and whatever. Whenever I find something that I like, I'll bring it in. But I have to be that filter and, first of all, evaluate it for content quality,
right,
and just block out the bad people that you would find if you were just searching the internet.
Yeah.
It's more of a shepherding thing, but in my case, it is really my passion to teach people.
Yeah.
Which pretty much should tell you that I am a stone cold moron, because in a couple hours a day I can make thousands of dollars, or I can write a RIA newsletter. Guess which one I usually choose?
Well, it's funny. There's a balance between doing what you love and making money. So, well, and I know that you have a blog talk show as well, a radio show.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's on Blog Talk Radio. It's American-RIA if you're looking for it. And mostly what I do is I interview my friends. Most of my friends in the real estate world are nationally known speakers. And I will interview them and interrogate them and ask them every question about their particular niche, or how they got started, or what advice they would have to new investors.
Yeah.
And then after the interview is done, I'll post it on my American-REIA.com website, just to let other people hear from the big gurus that they normally don't get to talk to.
Yeah.
And I use those personal relationships to get some of that content out there. And it's really for the new investors who haven't heard of these people yet. And it's another area where I can put out just ideas for people to possibly pursue.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very similar to what I'm doing here. So
yeah,
we'll add links to, all these things we're talking about. I know you're involved in a number of clubs and organizations. So for those listening that are ferociously scribbling to write this down, simply just scroll down and you're going to see them, links to them all right there. But so how many how often do you have shows and things like that? Is it a pretty active show, or?
I'll do a couple a month.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of more when my schedule is clear.
Right.
Yeah, I've got some ones. I've got a a designer who was on DIY Network that I've been trying to line up for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I've got some internet marketing folks. Again, Ron LeGrand's supposed to be doing it soon.
Yeah.
You know, people like Lee Phillips. I did it. Al Lowry, Lou Brown. A lot of the bigger known speakers, Reggie Brooke, guys like that. I've already done interviews with.
Yeah.
So I'm more branching off into subjects that really aren't covered.
Yeah.
Just to have a bigger body of material for people.
Right. Right. So when you talk about, for folks on the mentoring side of your business or in being involved with the RIA Club, teaching folks, you know, one of the things that's always interesting to me, and I love talking to people about hearing their feedback, is the fact that there's so much interest in real estate investing, yet so few that ever get out of the gate or are successful with it. And wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit on, you know, why you think that is, and, you know, we'll kind of ease our way into what folks can do to kind of get started and be successful.
Well, it's simple. The failure falls into one of two categories. Either you do not have the motivation to take action, which is your stinking fault, or you don't have enough education and enough understanding of the technique.
Yeah.
Now, most people will go ahead and they'll either read the internet or buy a course or what have you, but that'll give you the basics of the technique. To truly understand how to put that technique into play, how to actually use it in the real world, you generally need to find a successful mentor in your area. Yeah. And that can come from a couple different sources. You can find people like Mike, people like myself, people at your local RIA club. You'll be amazed when you find the successful people in that group. Right. They're very open to helping.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will do it. You know, my local group, I don't charge anybody any money. I will make you successful and we'll split the deal, but I have a vested interest in your success.
Right.
If you live in the middle of absolute nowhere, we can talk about fees to make that happen, but the money isn't the important part. Your success is. And having somebody who's already gone through all the steps, answering all the questions and things that weren't covered in whatever course you're into, is really important. My mentors coming up were John and Stephanie Iannotti, who are fantastic teachers and actually just launched a course called Reacts. And having them there, you know, when I got confused, I didn't understand what to do. You know, even things like the mechanics of closing a deal,
right,
can be very overwhelmingly complicated to a new person.
Yeah.
But it's very simple to those of us who've done it a few times.
Right. Just second nature.
Yeah, Mike, I could blindfold you and, you know, get you drunk and hit you in the head a couple times, and you could go to a closing and make it happen. You don't have to think about it.
Well, the funny thing is my wife and I probably bought a little under 300 houses in the past 5 years. I've been to a title company to close those deals probably a handful of times. I mean, we just do it out of our office. We FedEx, we notarize. I have notaries in my office. We just don't really think about it. And it's interesting, you know, that stuff, somebody sticks it on my desk and says, sign here, and I hand it back to them, and the rest is just kind of done. So
yeah, once you've done it a couple of repetitions,
right?
Yeah, like any skill, doesn't matter if it's a physical skill or an education skill. Once you've gone through a few repetitions, it's no longer scary.
Yeah.
And having somebody who's already been there and already done that, it really, the entire concept of mentoring goes back into the Middle Ages with the old trade guilds. You know, you wanted to learn to be a stonecutter. Well, you didn't just walk up and start whacking away at a stone. You found some old guy who had already been doing it for 20 years, and he showed you how to do it.
Right.
And that's very much the way real estate education is still communicated, because there are so many possible questions. No course is ever going to encapsulate all these.
Right.
You know, you can go for a 4-day training, a 10-day training. I don't care how long your training is. There's still going to be things that weren't covered.
Right.
And to be able to reach out to somebody who's already done that, say, okay, I ran into this, what do I do? Or how do I construct this offer? Or I think there's something here in this deal, but I don't quite know what to do with it. Or, you know, I have this under contract, I don't know how to sell it.
Right.
Those are incredibly valuable, and it goes back to the, you know, teaching somebody to fish concept.
Right.
Once that knowledge is implanted in your head, it's never taken away. Yeah. You know, the market can crash, you can go broke because you made silly mistakes, and come right back. And it's just a matter of getting that into your skull in the first place, and having a mentor really is the best and easiest way to do that.
Yeah. Or
you can struggle along for a few years and learn it yourself the painful, hard, disturbingly unprofitable way.
Yeah. And, you know, I think there's probably a much bigger pool of people that aren't successful because they don't even, like you said, take the effort to try to learn those things, to try to meet a mentor. they may do something on their own. They may go to a weekend boot camp, but they didn't really talk to anybody or network there. So they have this cluster of information in their head, and they end up saying, well, we just had a baby, or I just started a new job, or I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job, or they find reasons to never even get out of the gate, which is really the shame. But I don't know how to help. I don't know how to help people with motivation that don't have it.
The motivation's hard. You really can't get past that. You need to find somebody who has a pain point. Dentists are a great one because dentists kill themselves more often than pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Being a dentist is apparently horrible.
Yeah.
But those people understand pain and discomfort in their lives. Or somebody with that entrepreneurial spirit. I don't know if that's a genetic thing or if that's something that happens as you're raised. But that burning desire to succeed, the kind of guy who will just keep stepping forward at all times, no matter how discouraged they get, those are the guys that are going to make it. Your education prior to learning about real estate is irrelevant. I've seen high school dropouts do it. I've seen people with doctorates do it. Your income prior is irrelevant. Background is irrelevant. Ability to speak English is irrelevant. I've seen guys who came here, immigrated from countries I couldn't really pronounce, who become quite successful in real estate because they just kept moving forward.
Yeah.
And it's that mental attitude of, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep going until I win is really a key to it. And then you refine it with your learning process. But yeah, I think a lot of I don't know if the attitude's even the problem. I think it's fear that stops people.
Yeah.
They're afraid to pick up the phone. They're afraid to call the ad they saw on Craigslist that looks too good to be true. And having a mentor there to say, get off your freaking butt and call these people.
Right.
You'll never hit a baseball if you aren't swinging the bat.
Yeah.
You need that kind of encouragement to move forward. And there's only so much you can do with the rah-rah part of it. But you need that little bit of hand-holding. And if that little bit of hand-holding gets you through your first deal, well, okay, now you've done it. Right. Now it's not a big, scary monster. Now it's real. And now you understand that, okay, you've done it once. Go do it 300 more times.
Right. So tell us a little bit more about the American Real Estate Investors Academy. Is that's essentially your coaching program that you're involved with?
It's a coaching / an educational platform. That's my coaching platform for people who live outside of my area.
I see.
And it evolved because I was at an equity trust event in Orlando, and I met a couple of fellows from Idaho. And the guys from Idaho didn't know that there were RIA clubs. I was like, okay. Right. I don't know how you don't know that, but apparently, and I did a search everywhere I could find, there was nothing near them at all.
Yeah. So
I was like, okay, there really is a population of people who are just not being served at all.
Yeah.
And if you're out there on your own, well, okay, what are you going to do?
Right.
You're possibly a victim of, and there are some frauds and some charlatans in our industry.
Sure.
You could spend a lot of money being their victim, but you're missing the function of a RIA club where they act as a filter between you and the not so good guys.
Yep.
So I created that, and then I kept getting emails of, hey, would you teach me? Hey, would you teach me? Hey, would you teach me? So I finally broke down and said, okay, I will create a program for people who don't live anywhere near me. And it's not just me. I've got some of my very well-qualified friends that are willing to do mentoring on the side as well.
Yeah.
And it's a one-on-one program with us because everybody's an individual and everybody has different desires, and they all start at different points as well.
Right.
An experienced wholesaler does not have the same issues that somebody who's never bought a piece of property before in their lives has. So that's where that whole thing blossomed from.
Yep. Awesome. Well, as we sit here, where we kind of coming on mid-year 2014, I always ask some veteran folks, too, that are active real estate investors and have their ear to the ground, where they think the market's going, where they think things are heading. Of course, it's different in every market in the country, but just across the country, where do you think things are going with real estate, interest rates, things like that?
Short answer, I don't care. As an experienced real estate investor, the market crashes, I'll make money. The market goes great, I'll make money. Yeah. I just have to alter techniques. I've decided
at this point, actually, that I think we actually do better in bad markets.
Oh, I like bad markets.
Yeah,
this is,
I wish we could have 2009-10 back right now. Actually,
agreed. Desperate sellers are great buying opportunities. Hot markets are great selling opportunities.
Yeah.
And in between, there's everything else that exists.
Yeah.
It's a question of, are you buying defaulted notes because the economy's collapsed, or are you flipping stuff because the property values are skyrocketing?
Right.
And it's just a matter of what technique you want to employ at that moment. I see a lot of really endemic, very large structural problems to the real estate market. And I think, and not just real estate market, but all markets across, I think we're heading for some big crashes unless something changes direction. That being said, I really don't care.
Yeah.
I don't. If the market goes well, I'm going to be fine. If the market goes horribly, I'll still be fine. And I don't. I kind of follow the market, but I don't get real wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
What I'm feeling in Pittsburgh is we have a lot of natural gas folks coming in because we're sitting on enough natural gas to power the country for the next 200 years.
Yeah.
If we can keep the environmental wonkies from fighting it off, we will make a fortune in natural gas, and our economy will grow quite a bit.
Right.
If we fight it off, I will be buying property in Ohio because they'll get the boom that we fight off.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of shifting to that different market a little bit.
And I do think that's one thing that's important too, and I talk to folks a lot about this, is that I think it's critical. There's so many real estate investors that are a one-legged stool, right? I mean, they only wholesale. That's it. Yeah. They won't consider doing anything else. I know people that keep everything as rentals. They probably, that might be okay.
Actually, because long term, keeping rentals is the only safe thing you can do.
Right.
You'll take a beating some years, you'll do fantastic other years, but you will eventually become wealthy.
Right. But it's really critical to be able to ebb, and for any successful real estate investor to know how to survive and learn how to survive. And you just shift strategies in different markets and say, now I'm going to do this, now I'm going to do that. And so I think that's really critical for anybody that's listening. You should only be working with people that are teaching you how to not just survive, but thrive in any type of market.
Yeah, if you're a one-trick pony, at some point your trick's going to not work.
Right.
So you need to have multiple tools in your tool belt. And then the real concept is to become that transaction engineer, where it doesn't matter what the deal is, you know how to put it together.
Yeah.
And you may even look at property and say, okay, I can do 3 or 4 different things with this particular piece of property, all of which will be profitable.
Yep.
And that's really where you want to be. The other thing you really want to do is you want to eliminate yourself. Yeah. Your long-term goal is to replace you in your own business and completely automate it so that you have underlings who do all of your things. Everybody I know that makes a 7-digit annual income, they don't really participate in their own real estate anymore. When you start making, professional sports money, you're not the one who's going to do this. You physically can't. So you need to learn enough about the business to instruct other people to do what the functions that you're currently doing.
Right.
And that really should be everybody's long-term goal. In the short term, I just want you to get out of your stupid job. Jobs, I guarantee you, I don't care what your job is. If you're watching this, you are underpaid. And the reason I can guarantee that to you is that if they weren't making a profit on your efforts, you'd already be fired.
That's right.
So start making a profit on your own daggone efforts.
Yep.
The only way for you to get the most out of you is to be an entrepreneur. And the easiest way to be an entrepreneur is real estate. There are no barriers to entry. I don't care what your degree's in. I don't care if you have a degree.
Right.
All you need to do is to be able to talk to people and to be able to think critically. And you can really learn both of those skills. If you can't, talk to me or Mike.
Josh, that's great. I don't even have to ask you. Do you have any final words to share with the people watching? You just went ahead and did it.
I do want to throw one thing out, Mike.
Yeah.
If you go to my website, Pittsburgh, PittsburghReia.com, sign into my newsletter. It's a free educational resource. I will give you my report, 10 ways to make money in real estate, even if you're broke and have bad credit.
Awesome.
It'll help get you going in the right direction.
Awesome. We'll have links for that below the video here. So great, Josh. Well, we definitely appreciate your insights and your information and sharing your knowledge and experience with us today.
Fantastic, Mike. Glad you had me on.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, and we'll see you around, okay?
Have a good one, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are you a member of FlipNerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit FlipNerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry. So get on over to flipnerd.com.